Dr. Michael Greger. It's such a pleasure. You are author of a book called How Not to Die, which is a fantastic title, to say the least. And I wish I could give it to everybody I know for their birthday, for Christmas, for everything, because it's filled and packed with so much great research and data and information, but in a digestible format about how to incorporate a plant-based diet and plant-based nutrition to reverse a lot of different ailments that affect Americans. So just brief introduction, but let's get into it. So within the book, you address 15 leading causes of death, which is a heavy topic to talk about, but with over 3,000 citations and scientific citations. Why isn't the scientific studies already part of our normal medical treatment and education, and why aren't people prescribing a plant-based diet yet? How
right,
come
and these studies are published in some of the most prestigious medical journals in the world. So,
and it's been going back almost a century now.
Indeed. So here, for example, I just saw Dean Ornish here at the conference here, who published the landmark lifestyle heart trial in 1990, proving that you can reverse the #1 cause of death in the United States, opening up arteries, heart disease, opening up arteries without drugs, without surgery. And so that was 29 years ago, right? And every year since, hundreds of thousands of Americans continue to die of this preventable, arrestable, reversible condition.
So we're saying that this is the #1 cause of death. Is it #1 cause of death medically, or are we even comparing it to car accidents? Anything.
#1 cause of death of men and of women in the United States is heart disease.
Wow.
And if you actually break that down into risk factors for disease, the Global Burden of Disease Study, which is the largest study of risk factors for disease in human history, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the #1 cause of death is the American diet. So diet is #1 killer, tobacco is the #2 killer, but cigarettes only kill about 500,000 Americans every year, and our diet, the American diet, standard American diet, kills thousands more every year. So really, if what we eat is the #1 cause of death and disability, well then certainly nutrition should be is the #1 thing taught in medical school, right? Or the #1 thing your doctor talks about at every single visit. Why? How is there this disconnect between the science and the practice of medicine? And I think I like to have people think back to, like being a smoker in the 50s.
I want to interrupt for a second. So if we're talking about smoking and cigarettes, then we're now at the time where cigarettes are phasing out. And the cigarette companies actually had to help with disseminating information about how cancerous they are. And they are they're in charge of actually the anti-smoking campaigns. So why isn't big dairy and meat and agriculture industries, why aren't they held to the same standards then?
So we're at a very similar time in history where, for example, in the 50s, before the Surgeon General's report came out, the average per capita cigarette consumption, 4,000 cigarettes a year. The average person walking around smoked half pack a day because it was normal. Most doctors actually smoked at the time. And so even though we had decades of science proving that smoking is associated with lung cancer, still it wasn't recognized. The media was telling people to smoke. The American Medical Association saying smoking moderation is perfectly fine. And so it was just normal. So that's how it was able to continue, because it was just normal. Just like today, most doctors continue to eat foods that are contributing to our epidemics of dietary disease.
We, the collective we of Americans, I think really grow up where you have eggs for breakfast, you maybe have a sandwich for lunch, which is a cheese and deli slice, and then for dinner you're going home and having chicken or steak or something like that. So it's really 3 meals a day you're consuming meat and dairy.
And so it's normal. And so even though, for example, the deli meat you mentioned, that's processed meat. It's a category 1 carcinogen according to the IARC, the official body.
A category 1 carcinogen.
So that's the international. So the
that
IARC.
Sounds scary.
So the World Health Organization has as a body, a scientific body that determines what does and does not cause cancer, and it's classed into different categories as to how sure we are whether something caused cancer. And to the highest level is a group 1 or category 1 carcinogen. So that's like plutonium, cigarette smoke, and processed meat. Bacon, ham, hot dogs, lunch meat. We are as sure that those cause cancer in human beings as we are that tobacco smoke causes cancer in human beings. Yet we continue to give processed meats to kids at school. We continue to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how is it legal then for hot dogs and processed foods to be handed out in public institutions, and especially to our children when it's totally illegal to sell cigarettes to anybody under the age of 18.
But the science is in. It's just a matter of getting this out into the public, and that's why I'm so excited that you're doing what you're doing. And so, it's just like, back in the 50s when everybody smoked and we had the science there. What would you be doing as a public health advocate? You'd be telling, look, there's a strong body of evidence showing that smoking really isn't good for you. And someone would say, yeah, but the American Medical Association says it's fine for you or even beneficial for you. How can you, and you say, well, just look at the science. Here's science, just like we had decades of evidence then, proving this relationship between smoking and lung cancer. We have decades of evidence now, randomized controlled trials showing that you can reverse the course of disease in many cases with a plant-based diet and lifestyle.
That's really exciting news to hear, and you have such a great resource for helping people really access these, this dense information that seems, kind of almost like as a normal person, hard to understand these medical studies. It seems scary, but nutritionfacts.org makes it simple and easy to break down and understand, taking these studies, showcasing real information and data, and how it helps with preventative care and, like you just mentioned, reversal in a lot of cases. So when we're talking about reversal of ailments, I think in sicknesses, the top ones that are always spoken about when speaking about a plant-based diet is heart disease, type 2 diabetes. What other ailments are there that can be really positively impacted by a plant-based diet?
Not just positively impacted, but literally reversed, cured with a healthiness diet and lifestyle. So hypertension, so high blood pressure. 78 million Americans are affected. By age 60, the majority of Americans actually have high blood pressure. But we've known since the 1920s that high blood pressure need not occur given a healthy enough diet and lifestyle. So that's a low sodium diet centered around whole plant foods. You actually reverse very rapidly, in fact, so rapidly. In fact, if you are on blood pressure medications, particularly multiple blood pressure medications, you need to start eating healthier under your physician's supervision because you can rapidly become over-medicated. You can't have normal blood pressure or multiple blood pressure meds. You'll get dizzy, fall over, hurt yourself, right? And so same thing with diabetes. If you are on blood sugar medications, particularly injectable insulin, you need to start eating healthier under the purview of your medical professional so they can wean you off these drugs as when you're treating the cause, the disease goes away.
But do oftentimes when you are a patient and you're telling your doctor, hey, I want to get off my meds, I'm now hear this stuff about plant-based diet, I'm going to go vegan, doctors raise an eyebrow and they're like, hold on, don't go there yet. Why are doctors?
They just don't know the science. Look, as any doctor will tell you, they just were not taught this in medical school. I went to the school with the most nutrition training at the time, which was 19 hours at Tufts University School of Medicine, because they actually have a nutrition school there. But that's 19 hours out of thousands of hours of preclinical instruction, and it's mostly biochemistry of vitamins, Krebs cycle, that kind of thing. Not clinical nutrition, not using tools like food to actually reverse the course of disease, to treat disease. And so doctors just don't have these tools in their medical toolbox. They just weren't aware of this. And so, a prime funder of both undergraduate and postgraduate medical education is the big pharma. They're not going to tell people how to eat healthier. They're going to tell people how to prescribe drugs. And so, the whole system is set up to support this kind of pills and procedures as opposed to treating the cause of these lifestyle diseases with lifestyle changes.
When talking about lifestyle changes, a lot of people, when they are approaching a plant-based diet, they're told that they should be eating beans and legumes, which don't sound sexy when compared to filet mignon. So how can we make beans and legumes sexy?
Right. So legumes, beans, split peas, chickpeas, and lentils. Well, I think hummus is pretty sexy, but no. So you need to. A lot of people haven't even tried experimenting. Never had a lentil in their lifetime, and so you don't know how lentils taste unless you give it a try. I mean, who doesn't like nice, silky lentil soup? Come on, lentil soup is sexy. Come on.
It can be a little Moroccan style, or it can be done with a French flair.
Absolutely. So people just need to experiment and find things that they like to eat. And look, if it wasn't life or death important, right? Then it's like, I like this, I like that. No, but literally. This is one of the most important decisions you can ever make for yourself and your family is what to feed them. And so you need to find ways that you can incorporate into your daily life, make it affordable and convenient and tasty. Just got to keep experimenting.
And what I thought you were maybe going to come back with the answer is that beans and legumes have been in the diets around the world that have the most longevity.
Sure.
So and everybody's all about anti-aging and, is looking for that quick fix.
The fountain of youth.
Yes, the fountain of youth. Thank you. Everybody wants that quick fix
right.
of the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Tons of money goes in there. And yet you are saying that diets around the world that incorporate beans and legumes will give you longevity.
So the number one dietary predictor of survival of a population is how many beans they eat. So you want to know how long does a population live? It's not how little meat they eat, it's how many legumes they eat. So if you look at the blue zone, so these are areas around the world with the best longevity. So we have centenarians, and the largest percentage of people that live over 100 and continue to be active and vital. If you look at all those, what they all have in common is they have plant-centered diets, but specifically they have some form of legume. So whether it's tofu in the Okinawa Japanese, or whether it's black beans in Costa Rica, or certain areas in Greece, they have some plant protein is the center, and it's some sort of legume. So yeah, so it's critically important. Mm-hmm. So I recommend in my daily dozen 3 servings of legumes a day.
Can you tell me how do you pack 3 servings of legumes
a
day?
How about you got 3 meals? So what are you gonna do? So beans for breakfast, right? The Brits got it right. But there are actually cultures around the world that eat legumes for breakfast. So in Japan they have miso soup, and India they have idli, which is this little lentil cake. And so yeah, and the Brits have baked beans for breakfast. And so yeah, even if you're eating oatmeal, you can mash some white beans in your oatmeal. You won't even taste the difference. Won't even know they're there. Getting legumes in 3 times a day, that's really the ideal way to go.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna try a little more beans in my breakfast. But
excellent.
They definitely get
smear that hummus.
Gut health.
Yeah.
It's been like a growing trend over the last year of everybody's talking about gut health.
Great.
Like, why are people talking about it now? Is that really important?
Yeah,
What's going on in there?
Yeah,
how does it affect?
There's been a scientific revolution of our understanding of the microbiome. Because most of the bugs in our gut are actually unculturable, meaning that
You're telling me that there's little bugs.
There's not
things?
just a
like,
few little bugs. There's trillions. In fact, the human colon is the most biodense environment in the universe that we know of. There's more life in our colon than anywhere else on the planet. We have literally trillions of microbes living in our colon and have evolved the symbiosis, where we feed them, they feed us right back. But if we eat the wrong kind of foods, we foster the growth of the wrong kind of bacteria, and that can have negative effects not only on gut health, when you think of inflammatory bowel disease or irritable bowel disease, but on other systems of the body. And that was really the revolution in our understanding. Once we could do DNA fingerprinting and know exactly what's in people's gut, then we could make associations between disease, and even using so-called fecal transplant studies, we can actually do transplants.
Wait, are we talking about poop?
We are talking about poop transplants. So you can prove. So someone, for example, gets a fecal transplant from someone who's obese, and all of a sudden they gain weight, eating the same amount of food. And that's the power of our gut. It can affect our immune system, it can affect our mental health.
Wow.
And so it's really fun.
So how do we take care of our
So
little
how
universe?
do we take care of we need to feed our little friends there, and we do it by eating prebiotics. There's 2 main things that are good flora eat, and that's fiber and resistant starch. And those are found concentrated most in legumes.
Resistant
starch. So found mostly in
like
legumes. If you cook potato and then you cool it down, like eat it in like a potato salad,
Okay.
You actually do turn some of that starch resistant, meaning it's resistant to your digestive enzymes, and so makes it all the way down to our colon to feed our good, friendly flora. So dietary fiber resistant starch found mostly in legumes, but also found in whole grains throughout plant foods. All plant foods have some form of prebiotics. They're unfortunately missing from animal foods. And so if you want a good gut flora, you need to pack your diet with fiber-filled foods, and that's whole plant foods.
But then does this lead to like some people are maybe like prone to bloating, or like you mentioned IBS or things like that?
You have bad bugs in your gut, right? And so it's possible.
So it's not the fiber that's maybe causing these things. You're saying eat more vegetables, more fruit, which is fibrous, and that will help reset your system?
If you do get bloating, pain when you eat fiber-containing foods, then you have the wrong makeup of gut bugs, and what you need to do is foster the growth of the good ones. And how do you do that? You continue to eat those fiber-eating foods, but you may have to go slow. Some people, more than a tablespoon or two a day of beans, they can get those kind of bloating reactions. So what you have to do is you get it down to the level just under which you experience any symptoms, and slowly you can build up. It may take weeks for you to finally get up to be able to eat 3 servings of legumes a day, but that's when you foster the growth of the good bacteria, the so-called pathobionts, so the disease-causing bacteria die off because they're no longer feeding them with things like carnitine in red meat or choline concentrated in eggs, and so the disease-causing bugs are dying off, and then the health-promoting bugs, the ones that can produce these short-chain fatty acids, are absorbed back into our system and have all sorts of amazing effects on our bodies. These are the fiber-munching bugs. But if you've been eating, cheeseburgers and milkshakes your whole lives, you don't have a lot of fiber-eating bugs in your gut, and so you have to slowly
integrate
you have to slowly integrate it in. Some people can go straight over and not have a problem, but if you do experience bloating, then you have to fit those healthy foods in your diet, but you may have to start slow and slowly build yourself up.
Excellent. You promote reversal of all types of things by going plant-based. So my question is, kids in their 20s, can we then eat what we want, drink what we want? Because by the time we get to 30s or 40s, we can then be like, all right, then I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to reverse all of this stuff and I'm good.
That's actually a great question. So look, if the number one killer is reversible, heart disease, right, why can't you eat whatever you want and then just reverse it later on? The problem is most people that die from heart disease actually die from something called sudden cardiac death, a little over 50%. So most people die with heart disease actually don't know they have heart disease, never been diagnosed with heart disease, and sudden cardiac death is defined as death within 60 minutes of your first symptoms. So if you have a little chest pain, you're like, oh, I got to go see my doctor. No, you're dead within 60 minutes. And that is the way most people die from heart disease, actually particularly women. And so, so you don't even know you have heart disease. Of course, you were ravaged with heart disease. You have no idea. You've never been diagnosed, but you die. And so no matter how much you tell your paramedics to skip your favorite fast food joint on the way to the hospital, it is too late. That's why prevention is worth more than a pound of cure, because there is no cure for dead.
I mean, you can't find a little Frankenstein action in there yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes, that's one thing plant-based diets have yet to really work on is zombie reversal, yeah.
With heart disease, I've heard you speak about it before, that this is something that we start accumulating at a very, very young age. It's not something like I mentioned, being in our 20s, now I'm an adult, so that means now I'm onsetting all of this aging and ailments and sickness, but it's something that's fostered at a very, very young age.
All these chronic diseases, yeah. So our first big realization of that was when autopsies came back from the Korean War. So the young kids, average age 21, ravaged with atherosclerosis. We're like, oh my God, when did this start? So then they started doing autopsies of disease victims, children that had died in car accidents, and actually did autopsies and see what's happening in their arteries. By age 10, nearly all kids raised on the state of American diet already have what are called fatty streaks building up in their arteries. The first stage of the disease, those turn into plaques in our 20s. It can get worse in our 30s and then can start killing us off. And our heart is called a heart attack, and our brain, the same disease process, can cause a stroke. So if there's anyone listening to this over the age of 10, please, it's not enough to be like, oh, maybe I should start eating healthy to reverse to prevent disease. No, you're actually maybe reversing the disease you have, whether you know it or not.
Wow, so you're saying parents should be having families that are plant-based families vegan families, and that's okay,
and
that's great.
It's not just all on the parents. What about the school system? What about society? We need to support our kids when they're home, when they're out. It's really a societal change that needs to take place.
Have then how do you feel about, there's current, over in Europe, I believe in Belgium, the government, and they're using some science, I'm not sure how, it might be a little questionable science, they're having a huge backlash against parents that are raising their kids vegan. And they're saying that they're depleting their children from important nutrition.
There's a critical vitamin known as vitamin B12 that's not made by plants. It's not made by animals either. It's made by little microbes that blanket the earth. So we could get all the B12 we needed perhaps in the past drinking out of well water or mountain stream or something, but now we chlorinate the water supply to kill off any bacteria. So don't get a lot of B12 in the water anymore. Don't get a lot of cholera either. That's a good thing. We live in a nice sanitary world. But because of that, we don't get a lot of B12. So our fellow great apes get all the B12 they need from eating bugs, dirt, and feces. I prefer supplements, but critically important for anyone eating a plant-based diet to get a regular, reliable source of vitamin B12. Critically important, even more so for infants, since they start out at zero. So for example, if someone in middle age starts eating plant-based, they have some stores stored in their liver, and it could be months before they start showing vitamin B12 deficiency symptoms.
What would the symptoms be?
So it can cause a wide variety of things. Some of the first things noticed may be tingling in one's toes, the loss of vibration sense in one's toes. You can actually develop irreversible nerve damage before irreversible nerve damage. And so that's why you can't just wait until all of a sudden you experience the symptoms. Everybody needs to get a regular, reliable source of vitamin B12.
And it doesn't matter if you're an omnivore or a plant-based vegan.
Well, everybody needs to get B12, but so the official body of neurologists suggests everyone over age 50 supplement with vitamin B12 regardless of what they eat, just because your ability to extract B12 from meat and other animal products declines with age. And so those eating plant-based just need to move that age bracket lower, and particularly important for breastfeeding and pregnant moms to ensure vitamin B12. It's 2,500 micrograms cyanical balm and the cheapest source. Once a week, all the B12 you need costs less than $5 a year, but critically important for anybody. And so you can imagine, so there was a famous case, I'm not familiar with the Belgian case, there was a case in France of a couple that didn't know about B12, or maybe they knew, they didn't act on it, and had an infant die of vitamin B12 deficiencies. Wow. And so so you can see what kind of headlines that has. Yeah. So if you care about evidence-based nutrition and you want to, get out there and that's why it's important that everybody knows about B12 issue, so you can reap all the benefits but not avoiding the risk.
Easy to get at any local pharmacy or
absolutely.
Grocery store. Going back to Blue Zones, you did a question and Q&A with them. I just want to read a quote or something that you mentioned. Health-wise, it doesn't really matter what we eat on holidays or special occasions. It's our week-to-week choices that make the most difference for our long-term health and longevity. And I think when approaching people about talking to them about going plant-based, they often revert back to, what about my traditions? What am I going to do on the holidays? So am I understanding correctly that as long as you're changing your daily routines, it's okay to participate in those traditions around the holidays, and it's okay to still have a little dabbling in the meat and what's on the table?
Our body has a tremendous capacity for repair. All right, so we have these people that stop eating artery clogging foods, and within weeks they can get a reversal of this crippling of their artery function and improve blood flow. Amazing! Your body wants to be healthy, but you keep stabbing with a fork 3 times a day, and it just can't heal. You keep re-injuring yourselves. But as soon as you stop that injury, your body can start healing back. And so it's really the day-to-day stuff that adds up. Now, of course, there's food safety issues, right? You get an attack of salmonella, it could be one little bite, right? Yeah. Once a year, and poof, you could run into food poisoning issues, which can have lifelong consequences in terms of something called reactive arthritis and other things. Okay, but food safety aside, if you have a healthy day-to-day diet, it doesn't matter what you eat, birthdays, holidays, special occasions, it's really the day-to-day stuff that adds up. And so, so it's and that's important, I think, to present to people. For people like, I'm never going to have pepperoni pizza the rest of my life. They just completely close off. They just but it's like, no, you don't realize there is a spectrum of benefit And so, for example, the Adventists do say, largest study of plant-based eaters done to date, show that people, that semi-vegetarians, so-called flexitarians, who eat meat a couple times a month, do better than those who eat meat every day. And those who are those so-called pesca vegetarians that eat no meat except fish do better. And those who eat no meat at all do even better than pesca vegetarians. And the vegans, obviously, who don't eat meat, dairy, or eggs, do even better. But it's the spectrum of benefit, such that any movement along the spectrum can accrue significant benefits. Absolutely. And if you look at these blue zones, some of the places that live the longest, so for example, the Okinawa Japanese, the second longest living population, they're only 97% plant-based. Of course, the longest living population in the world are the vegetarian Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, don't eat any meat at all. But again, it's this spectrum of benefit.
How do you feel then about veganism versus plant-based? Because within veganism, there's a lot of processed foods.
Could be, right.
Versus a whole food plant-based diet, which is really, just eating your vegetables straight up, eating your grains straight up, versus, now there's all this alternative meat products and things like that.
Yeah, as a physician, labels like vegan, vegetarian don't really tell me much, right? So, you go to college campuses and there's vegans living off of french fries and beer, right? Vegan, but you're not particularly health promoting. Whereas someone comes to me and says, I'm on a whole food plant-based diet. Oh, you actually eat vegetables. But now we know what's actually going on, right? So you could have a very healthy vegan diet. You could have a miserable vegan diet. But by definition, a diet centered on whole healthy plant foods is healthy. That's the healthiest things we can possibly put in our bodies. So that really a preferable term. Now, I know there's ideological and religious reasons and other reasons one might want to completely exclude animal products from one's diet, but from a health standpoint, it's the more fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, mushrooms, the real food that grows out of the ground, the more we can include in our diet, the better off we'll be.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to meet you. That was like a download of lots of information, and I can't wait to just continue watching your daily cast and always learning more information on a regular basis. And thank you so much for always sharing and making health and wellness accessible.
Absolutely. Keep up the good work yourself.
Thank you.